Joining me today on Pro Wrestling Edge is John Wayne Murdoch. How you doing, sir?
Doing good, man. Sorry I was coughing while you were trying to do your introduction. But, yeah, I'm feeling good, man. A little sore from yesterday, but I'm good.
Yeah, I do want to get into yesterday, but just as we talked a little bit before we came on, being a Detroit-based podcast, you were at Horror Slam a few months ago. We're going to talk a little bit of that experience with you, but just to kind of introduce the Detroit area of my local listeners, more of who John Wayne Murdoch is.
Yeah, man. You just want me to start from the beginning or right when I got into death matches? Because I've been around a long time. So I got into death matches as far as, the hardcore and all that in like 2011. 2011 was my first King of Death. And really, I had no clue what deathmatch wrestling was about. I just was sitting on the couch, got a call from a wrestler. His name's Christian Haim. There was a spot open for King. Somebody had canceled or pulled off. It's IWA, so who knows what happened. And so, yeah, I replaced him, walked into it thinking this was just going to be like your typical hardcore stuff. And then what I was introduced to was the blood, the glass, the getting your body cut open and shit like that. And, from that, like, I fell in love with it. So that's how I got my start, was pretty much just a late night phone call to replace somebody at King of Death.
So 2011 was when you got into deathmatch, but you've been wrestling for a long time before that.
Oh, yeah. I started when I was 13 training. Then I was trained by a guy named Tony Falk.
Okay.
Started wrestling in the Nashville, mainly the Tennessee area. The biggest mistake I made early on was I didn't travel much. I stayed in a bubble for like 10 years. As I wasn't even John Wayne Murdoch, then I was Damian Payne, which was probably the worst fucking name anywhere. But yeah, so that's how I started. Just stayed in a bubble because in Tennessee I could work. I was working guys like Bushwhacker Luke. I was working Raven. I was working guys like Ricochet and Chuck Taylor and stuff like that. So to me, there was no reason. Everybody was coming to me. The big fish were coming my way. So it was no reason to go out and find those matches. What I didn't realize is nobody's seen those matches. It didn't matter that I had them because no one would see it. So it's the main thing I got to say. If anybody's listening that's going to be a wrestler, is travel as early as you can, get out there and don't just stay in one area.
So from starting at 13, your journey went staying kind of local. You wrestled some guys that have got some pretty large names in the industry, but like you said, nobody really saw them.
Yeah. I was working weekly with guys like Mitch Ryder and Bull Payne and stuff. And yeah, you learn, but like I said, you're not gaining anything but the experience. But I can say that once I did started traveling more, I was seasoned already because I already learned from a lot of good people. So I had good etiquettes. I had I had everything in the ring that I needed to be successful, but I just, delayed how far I could have been if I'd have traveled a lot sooner.
Gotcha. So when 2011 came, you got that phone call and you did that first death match, and is that all you do since 2011 has been death match?
It feels, my body feels like that is. When I did it in 2011, there was it was for IWA, but I didn't know that Ian wasn't really behind anything. He was more just a mascot for IWA at that point.
Yeah.
I think somebody else had took it over, or was at least the money guy. And so I didn't get what was talked about. So like I was booked again in 2011 and 12 for IWA, and I no-showed. There was 2 or 3 matches. I think one was against Marcus Crane and a couple others, and I just no-showed them because I was pissed because I got fucked, and I blamed it on Ian. Come to find out it wasn't Ian, so that's the reason I came back to IWA when I did, to later be fucked for real by Ian. but that's a different story. But anyway, yeah.
So pretty much since 2011, you've done the death match, and I've seen your work in GCW or CZW and GCWs, where I have been familiar with your stuff before you came to Horror Slam. Who have been some of the talent that you've wrestled in the death matches that you've really enjoyed? Maybe you had good chemistry with, or some of those matches that have stood out to you that you had over the years.
Gotta be early on, like even for my first death match in 2011, Simon Says went out there and took somebody that didn't know what the hell he was doing in that environment, knew how to wrestle, and knew what it took, the ingredients to make a good match. But, you know, when you add in everything, the other dangers, it does get harder. But he really went out there and did everything he could. I mean, fuck, he almost bled to death. I don't know if you've seen the match, but he somehow his throat gets cut and like he's squirting blood out of the side of his neck. And like the ref's like, hey, we need, let's wrap this up pretty much in loose terms. And he's like, fuck it, let me die. It's King of Death. And I'm like, what the fuck? These are seriously dedicated people. And then I walk to the back and there's like a standing ovation of like Drake Younger, and there's Ian and BJ Whitmere, and all of them guys were like, hey, you just went out there and fucking and killed it. You did what you needed to. So early on, if it wasn't for what Simon Says did, I don't think that I'd have went as far. It took me a lot longer because deathmatch fans have great memories. If you shit the bed once, they're not going to let you forget it for a long time. So early on, Simon Says, right off the bat, I think I got lucky there. Then Matt Tremont really, those series of matches that we had, I think, were more beneficial than anything. The match that I had with Nick Gage when he come out of prison, I think that if we hadn't went almost 50 minutes, that in itself, I think, put more steam behind me than anything was that match with Nick Gage. So yeah, I think mainly Tremont, Gage, Simon, the matches I've had with Reed. Yeah, some of those guys have definitely been beneficial towards me.
So my favorite match was your series of matches with Tremont. I thought those were just you guys put on a heck of a show.
I can't leave out I can't believe it. Ricky Champage is another guy that I had a series of matches with that were really good. I think it's 2017 Crimson Mask IWA show. We opened the show in a House of Horrors and killed it. So again, RSP is another guy that helped me a lot.
Yeah, the names you're throwing out are just, talents that are known by everyone in the deathmatch scene. Being in Detroit earlier this year, you got an opportunity to come here, and you wrestled Jeff King.
Tough son of a bitch. He also was not at 100%. Either of us were at 100% in that match. He was banged up from a previous GCW show. I think he had a broken rib still. I was just about to have elbow surgery like 2 weeks later or a week later, something like that. So I was really trying to just get done with it and get in and out without getting any worse off. But yeah, I think he's a hell of a hand, and I'm so glad that he's finally getting the recognition that he deserves. Like I wrestled him at a King of Death. I think it was 2000, the one I won, 2016 or whatever. And like I said, man, he's a fucking beast.
Yeah, you guys fought for the Horror Slam Championship. The following month, he actually won the unification. He beat him in 3, so he's now the undisputed Horror Slam champion. So yeah, your guys' match was great. And I knew that King had the broken rib, but I didn't know that you were coming in there with an injury. So but it didn't show. It didn't show when you were out there.
I definitely would love to have another match with Jeff King at Horror Slam, and that way we can compare the two and just realize, like, man, there was so much more that we wanted to do and we could have done, but I think we just both wanted to not get hurt any further. But knowing that we both could have good matches without going to the extreme or whatever. But yeah, I would definitely love to push the envelope with him.
So was that your first time in Detroit?
No, I'd wrestled in Detroit before, but this was my first time at Horror Slam.
Yeah. Around here, Horror Slam has brought a lot of people back to deathmatch wrestling and that style. What Briar and Rachel do there is phenomenal. We were so gutted when all this happened because it was right there at that Horror Slam GCW show. That was
which would have took off, man. That building would have been packed.
You know, they got the Fight TV deal, and here we go. We're getting the Horror Slam versus GCW, and then all this stuff happened. I'll tell you, as a huge Horror Slam supporter, and I've had Briar on my podcast, I've had Rachel, I've had a ton of the talent there on the show. Is when everything gets back and going, I would love to see John Wayne Murdoch back in Detroit for Horror Slam. That would be great.
Most definitely, not only me back, but I would love to tag with Reed to bring, because it's one experience to have me there. It's one experience to have Reed there, but it's a whole different experience if you get the rejects there. You get us tagging, just the stuff that we can do with the crowd and how we can connect. And yeah, I think the rejects definitely need to come to Horror Slam.
That would be great. Briar, if you're listening, let's make this happen when we're all back. Let's get them back here.
Yeah, tell Briar to find a tag partner, and we just do it.
That sounds like a deal, man. Let's make it happen. So, when you're at Horror Slam, you had the honor of having one of a talented manager with you. I mean,
it was cool. It was surreal to be in there with Truth Martini, to have him lead me to the ring. Just the little things that he added. They seemed little, but they were really big things that he just added. His perspective on stuff was very, very cool, and it was a very cool tool to have. And I would love, even though we had a little miscue and things a little rough, I would definitely love to be managed by him more.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to actually go to the House of Truth wrestling school and interview, sit down and interview with Truth, and just some things that he let me in on and talk to me about. And he had listened to what I do on my show and actually gave me a little bit of advice on what to do when I'm bringing guys on and talking to them and stuff. So
it's like Truth can't walk through a locker room without like advice just falling off of him, and just knowledge. You can get within 100 feet of him and you're going to be hit with knowledge or something that he's going to say that you could take and use to benefit your life.
Yeah, he's around here. If people that listen to my podcast know I'm a huge Truth fan, and to see him with you is one of the guys that I followed in deathmatch wrestling before you came to Horror Slam. That was cool for me as a Truth fan, getting to see him with you. That was pretty cool.
So definitely an experience.
Since this quarantine has happened and wrestling just came to a halt, pretty much. Like I said, as a fan, it killed me because we were all set up for some great shows. I had a weekend where I had shows for 3 days, that I was going to as a fan, and it was just bad. I know I want to talk about what happened yesterday, which was Saturday the 9th, because this will come out, after today. But other than that match yesterday, what have you been doing since quarantine? Have you been just chomping at the bit, I'm assuming, to get back to working?
Yeah, definitely. It's funny because the quarantine and all this really, it's affecting me now, but weeks ago it wasn't, because I'm still technically not cleared from the doctor. I'd had surgery, so I didn't have anything lined up. I feel bad for all the guys that had everything cancel on them, especially WrestleMania weekend and all that. So I was already sitting on my hands not having anything to do because of the surgery. So then you take that time period and now fucking it's going even longer with the quarantine and all this shit and the state's not opening. So yeah, it's rough, man. I'm so glad that yesterday we got to do the quarantine and kill thing and just give fans 2 matches. Yes, they're in the backyard. No, they're not the best matches you've ever seen, but we went out there, we bled, we just did what we wanted to do for the fans. We gained very little from it. Going in, we knew we would gain very little from it. We just wanted to do something for the fans that didn't risk them coming and being in a closed building and having a chance of catching a virus that they didn't need to catch.
So, for something I just want to let my listeners in on, if you haven't seen it yet, I shared Murder, Death, Kill Club's Facebook page stream yesterday of the match. So you can go to Pro Wrestling Edge's Facebook page and watch. It was the main event was John Wayne Murdoch versus Aiden Blackheart versus Akira. All guys that have been at Horse Slam within the last several months before this, stoppage of shows happened. And then there was another match, and I'm not familiar with the 2 that were in the first match. Who was in that match?
Charlie Cruel, and I forgot her opponent's name. I feel horrible now that I'm on the spot and I forgot his name. But what you do need to know about it is she pretty much tried to stab him with a butcher knife in the forehead a bunch of times. So, I mean, if there's anything you need to know about that match, is that right there.
Yeah, when she busted that butcher knife out, that was pretty amazing. So wasn't it originally supposed to be you and Aiden?
Yeah, it was supposed to be 3 matches, but Akira's opponent, for some reason, either has something to do or couldn't do it or would say they would do it, then drop out. We had like 4 or 5 the day of. As I'm driving to the secret location, yeah, there was like 4 or 5 people that just would say they would do it, would drop out, would read the message, not even respond. So finally it was like, let's just do 2 matches, make it a 3-way. I really, at this point, enjoy wrestling with Akira. Anything I can do to help him along the way. It's funny that he was in that match because we were looking for another spot to fill in a car for a Mexico trip. It was, I think, the second time we went to Mexico, me and Reed. So it was me, Reed, Aiden, and we needed 1 more. And it wasn't even a significant spot. Maybe wouldn't even have got on the show. It was just somebody to help out. And Aiden pitched Akira, and I absolutely fell in love with just his ability to just get in there and do it. Like, he was thrown in there in Mexico and was like, hey, you're going to bleed. Or not, and that's what he did. So, and he's learning. He's coming in such a long way. So, yeah, any chance I get to be in any kind of pro wrestling form with Akira is a plus.
Yeah, when he was at Horror Slam, he wrestled MM3, and MM3 gave him some big props. So yeah, that was an amazing match, and what you guys did yesterday, like you said, it was in the backyard. It wasn't in a ring, like you said. It wasn't the best because of the environment, but you guys entertained all of us. And like I said, it's on Pro Wrestling Edge's page. Also in there is links to these guys did this for free. There was nothing that there was no promoter behind this paying them to do this. This is just 3 guys or 5 talent, 4 guys and 1 lady that just love doing what they do and went out there. So in that video or live stream that I have on the Pro Wrestling Edge page, there are links to their PayPals if anyone wants to donate to them for what they did yesterday. I believe everyone's in there, I believe.
Yeah, everybody's that you need are in there. If you go to Charlie's match, hers and the guy she wrestled are in there. Like I said, everybody came out of pocket in some form yesterday without no return, whether it be the 30 light tubes that we went through, all the cans or the stuff to make the can boards that all that Akira made himself and brought with him. The time that Murder, Death, Kill came out and filmed, the time that they took the gas, and there was 2 representatives from that. They're Crystal and Blake. They do some of the interviews. But yeah, everybody just chipped in and we did it. And, the cops were called after the first match. So we
I did see that, yeah.
so
I saw someone in the chat say that the cops were called.
Yeah, so we delayed a little bit, and then we was like, fuck it, we just got to do this last one. If they come, they come. So, yeah, we just all did it, man, and we're going to keep doing it. I think it's going to maybe be a once-a-month thing.
Yeah, there are some links in the stream that I shared from Murder, Death, Kill Club's Facebook page. There are PayPal accounts there where you can go
Awesome.
Donate to the talent who entertained us yesterday. Unfortunately, you didn't come out on the winning side.
I never do. I can't seem to beat Akira. He's a slippery little bastard, that's for sure. But I got to say that his girlfriend was the referee, and I might not have been as passed out as she thought. So I think prematurely she gave the match to Akira, but that's a different day.
Yeah, all he said was, yep, he's passed out. And she's like, okay, it's over. She didn't even check on you or nothing.
I was robbed.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, it was definitely something that was, I was entertained. And, I've been saying this on my podcast, Murdoch, ever since the quarantines happened. If you're in a predicament where you can help out these guys and girls that are their incomes come to a halt, maybe they don't have a shoot job. Maybe they do, but because their shoot job's not essential, they're not working, that they're just sitting at home. If we can help out in any way, support, whether it's buy a T-shirt or in this case, help donate to these guys and this gal who went out there and put their bodies on the line for us when they didn't have to in this time. So I appreciate that from you coming from here. And pass the word on. I would love to have everyone that was a part of Quarantine and Kill. I'd love to get them all on Pro Wrestling Edge and talk to them.
Definitely.
And help get their name out there as best we can. So if you can pass that on, I would love to get each and every one of them that was involved on the podcast separately, so they can have a little bit of their time to shine and get themselves out there. But going forward now, you said as long as we're on this quarantine, you're looking at doing this hopefully monthly is kind of the plan.
Most definitely. I think that, I hate to use this term because everybody's using it, but right now it's the new normal. It's what's got to happen. I know Indiana, I know some other places there are going to be shows. There's going to be shows where you can go with fans. I know, I hope people use some intelligence and, don't risk it if they feel like there is a risk there. No, I do not trust half of the people coming back running shows this early. But also on the flip side of that, a lot of the boys are getting paydays that they wasn't getting. So I'm torn on that part. Yes, I'm one of the boys, but so what can I say there? I can either damn it and then I'm damning the boys, it's hard. But what I can say is just use your common sense, wash your hands, wear a mask. If you don't feel comfortable, if you feel like the promotion is not doing anything they can to protect you, don't go. I hate to say that, it might fuck some of the boys, but I think the boys understand, and the boys that count anyway will get it. So,
yeah, it's definitely a different time. Even we had to change our whole style. We really enjoyed having the guest here in the studio, and I think our last guest that we were able to get in the studio before everything happened was Chuck Stein, who's another Horror Slam roster member. We had him in the studio. We actually had a bunch of the Horror Slam talent leading up to that big Horror Slam versus GCWA show that had to be postponed. But But yeah, he was the last one we were able to have in studio. We've had to, the new norm right now is having these Zoom interviews. But
And just like guys like Ron Mathis and his partner, Bruce, they're doing a best of 7 in an empty arena, and they're selling each match. Or you can buy all 7 of them, and then once they record them, you'll get them. I think things like that people need to support. So if you can go to Ron Mathis's page and share that, he shares it every day. But yeah, more things like that will keep guys, mentally ready, because, just sitting at home and not doing nothing, or just like, man, I wish I could wrestle, that eats away at you. So the more guys that can get out and find that they can make a little extra cash doing something like that and take care of their mental, their mental fucking stability, then they're going to do it. So yeah, support all that. Support Ron, support the Quarantine and Kill thing monthly, support anybody that's, going out of their way to still give fans content, but do it in a safer manner.
Yeah, 100%. And like, as these go on each month, make sure you reach out to me, and I'll make sure to do my part on plugging it and sharing everything on Pro Wrestling Edge's page for you guys. Because, like I said, it was nice to see some deathmatch wrestling yesterday. Let's just say that things are going to get back to semi-normal, to more where there's shows going on. What would be your goals, either going forward in 2020 or going forward in 2021?
Just at this point, it's safe to say a goal could just be simply just getting back in front of fans at this point. Just getting back to where there can be 200, 300 people. But as far as, if that's all taken care of and that's a given that we're going to get back to that, I say having a better run in GCW, going back, righting some of the wrongs and just doing it and having a better success at it. And then as far as opponents, I really want to wrestle Takeda. I really want to see how I measure up. Everybody's had their chance. And I think that, I want that opportunity. So.
And we want to get you guys back to Horror Slam. Breyer, find a tag team partner so we can get the Rejects here in Detroit.
Yes. But mainly my goal is just to wrestle in front of fans again, just to feel that connection and to be able to just do what I love. It's great doing it in the yard. It was great doing that yesterday, but still it just didn't feel normal. It just didn't feel like it should. So yeah, main goal is just to get everybody back safe and, have deathmatch wrestling on a hell of a run like it was before the quarantine.
Well, before I let you go, John, let everyone know where they can find you. Let everyone know what, plug away, whatever you want to get out there. Go ahead. This is your time.
I'm just on Facebook. I do not fuck with Twitter, Instagram, or none of that. I should, but I don't. So I like to shit post memes on Facebook. So if you want to laugh, come on Facebook. Look me up, John Wayne Murdoch on Facebook. Grab a trucker hat while you're there. I do have hats still. I have 1 XL shirt left of my size design. I'll post all that today, and I'll make sure you get that so you can post it as well.
Awesome.
But yeah, just hit me up on Facebook. I'm always down to talk. So yeah.
And again, I shared the stream from Quarantine and Kill yesterday. The PayPal links are there. If you can, support. If you can't, they understand, but they are still trying to entertain us. But if you're able to, like I've said before, if you're in a position where you can, buy a shirt, buy a hat, support these guys and girls in this rough time. Well, John, I appreciate you for coming on, and I can't wait for us to get back to where we can get you back here at Horror Slam, and I can see you and shake your hand and get a picture with you, buddy.
Yeah, man, I'm so sorry it took a couple of days to actually get this interview down. Shit's hectic right now. All this Zoom meeting, the school, homeschooling. I'm not a teacher, damn it. And, shit, half this shit, I don't even know. Anyway, but no, thank you for having me on. And if you're listening, stay safe. keep your family safe, and happy Mother's Day to all the mothers.
I appreciate you, man.
All right.